Hello everyone, this is Gary from Fantastic Fundas, and in this lecture today I will be talking to you about the religious reform movements in India. We have already talked about the social cultural reform movements in the earlier lecture. Actually these two things should have been done together, but then the length of lecture was too much, so I had to do it in two different parts. Okay, I will be talking to you in the next lecture about the caste movements at the time and also about the emancipation of women at that time. Okay, so now let's begin with today's lecture. First of all, there were many religious reform movements in India among Hindus, Sikhs, Muslims, Christians, Parsis. Everywhere movements were there. Okay, so but what was the need of, why did we need a religious reform movement? That is the biggest question we have now. First, if you can write a short note on this and you can share it on our website Fantastic Fundas का वहाँ chat forum है, वहाँ पे you can answer this question and that will be good, right? Because such questions are often asked in paper. So the answer to the why, the basic answer is, I will not go into much detail, but the basic answer is that that religion, right? Religion. In those times it was part of the people's life, right? So it was main part of people's life, major part of people's life, main part of life. It had much more impact on religion even today, and there can be no social progress without transforming or changing the religion as it should have been done, right? So social reform is not possible without these changes. The religious reform बिना किए social reform नहीं हो सकता. So that was about why, right? Now first let me talk to you about a very very prominent movement. Actually is one of the earliest movements, so I'm talking it about here. And this movement was started by Ramakrishna Paramhans. नाम आप सबने इनका सुना ही होगा, everyone knows about him, but really doesn't. He was, his real name, he was born as Gadadhar Paramhans, and he was given this name by a guru, by his guru, who was also known as Nangta Baba, who was very active in Punjab, right? And Nangta Baba in Punjab, right? Now he gave him this name, right? And his whole praise and his worship of God, right? It was based on three aspects. This is important because he was also guru of Swami Vivekananda, and many of his followers became great saints of India. So that is why he is important, right? So his philosophy was based on Tantra, Vedanta, and Vaishnav. Okay, now I will not go into any detail about these topics, though I would love to talk about these three topics, but then there is paucity of time, so I would rather avoid that. Okay, now he thought, he did this, and his purpose was basically religious salvation. Okay, on the religious basis he wanted to achieve the salvation, and he said something beautiful, and you can always quote this in your essay paper or your GS of even everywhere, right? It's a beautiful sentence. He said service of man was service of God. Service of man service of man is service of God. मनुष्य की सेवा ही ईश्वर की सेवा है, ये उन्होंने कहा. बहुत सुंदर वाक्य उन्होंने ये कहा, वाक्य बोला है. सो बिकॉज ऐसा क्यों है, सी उन्होंने एक्सप्लेन किया, बिकॉज मैन इज एम्बॉडीमेंट ऑफ गॉड. ओके, man is embodiment of God. For this reason he said so, right? And if you talk about Ramakrishna Paramhans ji, he met, if you remember, when we talked about Brahmo Samaj, over there I mentioned the name Keshav Chandra Sen, right? If you Remember, if you do not, please go to the earlier lecture and listen to it. Now, Keshav Chandra Sen, actually he separated from the even the Adi Brahmo Samaj, right? And he had rejected idolatry, right? But and he even he accepted Christianity. This person Keshav Chandra Sen, we talked about him in the earlier lecture. Now, under the influence of Ramakrishna Paramahansa ji, right, he accepted Hindu polytheism, right? He accepted Hindu polytheism, and he not only this, right, he established something called this new dispensation, right? In Hindi, actually, it was called Nav Vidhan, or new dispensation religious movement, right? And it was based on the Ramakrishna's principles, which is worship of God as mother. Okay, now Ramakrishna, he basically Ramakrishna Paramahansa, he practiced all the religions, right, which were popular, right, when he came in touch with the other people of those religions. For example, when he was practicing Islam, right, he would dress like Arabians, and he would pray Allah, and he would say that मैं इतना अल्लाह की भक्ति में डूब गया कि मैं काली माता का मुझे ध्यान में ही नहीं आ रहा. और जब वो क्रिश्चियनिटी में आया, कह रहा है मैं क्राइस्ट की भक्ति में इतना डूब गया कि मेरे को ना काली माता का ध्यान रहा है, ना अल्लाह का ध्यान रहा है. So basically, whatever he's doing, he was doing with passion, right? And he's claimed that he saw, Pegambar, and he saw Christ, and so those things never said about Ramakrishna Paramahansa. He was such a great saint of India. Okay, now all this basically, but then he studied all the religions, and then ultimately he found that all religions lead to just one aspect, one thing, and that is God. He concluded this by following all the religions. Ultimately, he was of course a Hindu only, and he thought and which is manifested actually later on when he teaches Jatra Shiv Jatra Jeev Tatra Shiv. Right, that's what he said. Right, I'll write it for people who have not understood. Jatra Jeev, okay, Jatra Jeev Tatra Shiv. Jahan jahan jeev hai, wherever there are living beings, there is Shiva. Okay, now Ramakrishna, right, this is what he was teaching. Okay, that's about Ramakrishna Paramahansa. But important thing, another important thing is that he was there somewhere around 1830s, right? And in fact, he was there from 1834 to 1886. Right. Then came Swami Vivekananda. We'll talk about him. Vivekananda. Now this person Vivekananda, he was there from 1863 to 1902. The years are not important. They are just for the sake of reference. Okay, you don't have to remember years. Now he was a disciple of Ramakrishna Paramahansa ji, and he put a religious message in a form that would better suit contemporary Indian society, right? So his religious message was modern, which better suited the contemporary Indian society of that time. Now please understand, this is a very important aspect of it. One of the reasons because of which any religion survives, India was full of Buddhism. India had so many Buddhists over here, but then essentially what happened, it became such a rigid religion in India at that time that for today, if you have to find Buddhism, there are just pockets in India, and otherwise you go and see that in China or Japan or Southeast Asia, all those countries, right? Now another thing, we should not be fanatic in our religion. Okay, we should be modern in our outlook. This is what history has to teach. This is the reason we are studying history, right? Please try to learn from history while you prepare for your exam also. This will help you in being a better officer. Okay, now see this person is talking about social action. His focus is on action. He says talk less, work more. Okay, now he says if you have knowledge, right, if you have all the knowledge in the world, but if you do not act, this knowledge is useless. This knowledge is useless without action. Okay, and he says that motion is the sign of life, right? He says motion. साइन ऑफ लाइफ. जब भी कोई जीव प्राणी के अंदर कुछ हिलता है, तभी वो हम कहते हैं ना, आम भाषा में, साइंटिफिकली ना कहें कि वो जिंदा है. अगर बैक्टीरिया के अंदर भी कुछ हिल रहा है, तभी हम कहते हैं जिंदा है. ये एक, यू नो, दिस पर्सन इज लाइंग हियर, ओके, दिस इज मिस्टर एक्स लाइंग हियर, ही डजंट मूव. व्हाट इज इट? यू नो, this is no motion. We cannot, it's almost dead. Okay, now same way knowledge is dead if it's just lying there in your books or even in your brains. Okay, and he said that Vedanta, according to Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Vedanta was the a fully rational system, right? Fully rational system. When I talk, I hope to teach you cultural history somewhere, sometime. When I teach you, I'll talk about Vedanta. Vedanta means the end of the Vedas, the end part of the Vedas, Vedant. So we'll talk about the anyway, right? Now, see. Swami Vivekananda, he did even criticize, right? He criticized Indians for so many things. And what he said that we have lost touch with the world, right? And we have become stagnant, right? हम रुक से गए हैं, खड़े पानी की तरह हो गए हैं, right? And in fact, we are so much indulged into caste system. He worked a lot for the welfare of the caste system. This is very weird actually, because a lot of people, especially people from suffering from the caste system, they go and worship Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, which is very good actually. He did a lot for the backward classes, right? But then we must also remember the contribution of Swami Vivekananda ji in this, right? In this aspect. Okay, now. See, and then he said, that we are overemphasizing on rituals and superstitions. This is what his ideas were, कि आप हम ये बन जाए, जनेऊ पहन लें और वो कर लें. इसी आप ऐसा करने से हिंदू नहीं बनते हैं. Just by wearing जनेऊ you don't become a Hindu, right? Even if you don't wear it, even then you can become a Hindu. See, he was basically talking about all the outward things. He was saying जो ये बाहरी दिखावा है, right? All this outward look, this does not make you true son of God. What you really need is a change inside, and once the change is there inside, these outside things do not matter. That was his idea, because all these ritual superstitions are outside things, okay, and the way you are looking, all that is just outside, right? It's very, very rational thing, right? Now he was he said that he also quoted, right? He said we are becoming don't touch us, or in other words, we are having touch me not attitude. Touch me not attitude. What does this mean? This means that we were not accepting the backward classes, right? इतना मतलब होता था छुआछूत, and untouchability was so prevalent. If there is this person is not the scheduled caste, right? Scheduled caste concept came much later. If anybody is from is a of a lower caste, okay, if any person is of lower caste, and this person is walking by, it still happens in India. There's a beautiful documentary on this topic. If there doesn't, not to that extent, but to certain extent, even this is happening today, that this person is of higher caste. When he is walking, this person is supposed to be 80 feet away, 90 feet away, or 20 feet away. There were various rules for various lower castes. So that was the kind of untouchability we were having, and that is what really troubled Swami Vivekananda ji, and he really wanted to abolish this system of caste system in India, because in reality the caste system in Hindu system is not really of this untouchability, okay. It's not part of real Hinduism. Real Hinduism talks about caste system in a very different manner. It's about recognition as a profession, and in which mobility is there. For example, if you are a businessman and tomorrow you can become a gardener also, so that way it's flexible system. It's not rigid, but today it is rigid system, which is bad, right? And one of the greatest contributions of Swami Vivekananda ji was when in 1897 he founded Ramakrishna Paramhans Mission, right, on the name of his guru, and he started this mission. And this was basically it still is very, very successful mission in India. It is contributing a lot to the Indian society, and that was it was basically for the humanitarian relief, okay, and about the social work they were doing, right, for the upliftment of the backward classes. They really, really worked for them. They opened so many schools, right? There are still Vivekananda schools, and then they opened so many orphanages, So that is the kind of great work they were doing, and they were opening hospitals. Okay, this spirit I see missing these days, right? He opened so many libraries and so many colleges, so he focused on education also, because he wanted every person to be rational. See, Ramakrishna Paramans, these people, or Swami Vivekananda, they were not just working for Hindus, right? Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Jews, everyone, right? For all they were working. These orphanages were open for all, these schools, hospitals were for all. Okay, and his emphasis was not on personal salvation, okay, and his emphasis was on the social good, right? And even today we have so many dispensaries and hospitals after their name, and whenever a natural calamity strikes, then always we'll find that Swami Vivekananda, these institutes have done a lot, right? Now the next movement I want to talk to you is about the Arya Samaj movement. Okay, there have been few controversies about this, and anyway, right, we'll talk about all things. Now it was started by Swami Dayanand Saraswati. Okay. See, what really happens these days, this is a beautiful word actually, Swami, right? Swami, it's a beautiful word, right? But anyway, the media has portrayed in a very, very negative sense, so it has changed its connotation these days. Anyway, so its focus, this movement, it was in the North India, right? Okay, now what was its aim? Its aim was the religious reform, because they felt that the way Hinduism is being practiced is being practiced in a very, very poor form. He said that so many people have converted to other religions, so he started what is called the Shuddhi movement. Okay, Shuddhi movement. And then it was basically to bring back the converted people back to Hinduism. And then he also started cow protection movement. Okay, so this cow protection movements have been going on since very long, right? Anyway, we have already talked about this, no, we are yet to do that. You'll find that about this the legal aspect in the polity lecture about the cow protection in India. Okay, whether it's there can be various aspects. We'll talk about the legal aspect about it. Now his motto was go back to Vedas. Okay, that was his motto. And he was he criticized, right? What did he criticize? He said that the way these priests, these pandits, this mandiron mein jo heads hain, all these priests, they are using Purans for their selfish interest, and this movement was against them. They were using Purans for selfish interest, which is wrong, right? They were saying that if you do this fast, se aapko ye benefit ho jayega, and then you will get God and all that, right? So and then he said Puranas, actually Puranas are one of the latest texts of Hinduism, and it's not the pure Hindu text, to be honest, right? So that is why it's not pure. So that is why Arya Samaj opposed it. And idolatry, they opposed idolatry, and they were against the rituals, because there were too many rituals, right? And there was too much of priesthood, so they were all against it. So this is how the Arya Samajis did it, right? And the focus of the Arya Samajis, it was on the Western sciences. There was a lot of influence of Western sciences. We'll see this in this lecture when we talk about Sikh movement, Sikh religious reform movement, and Islamic religious reform movement, how Western sciences really influenced us. Okay, now they regarded Vedas as infallible. That is important over here. Vedas are infallible. According to them, Vedas are most important, right? And they said that any thought that is in contravention of Veda, that thought is not acceptable. Okay, that thought is wrong. We'll find something similar by Sir Syed Ahmed Khan later on. Okay, we'll talk about that. His call for back to Vedas, that was basically a call for revival of Vedic learning and Vedic purity, right? It was for Vedic learning. Please don't think that this was a backward movement, because their focus was on Vedic learning and Vedic purity, right? And they were open to the modern ideas, right? They never wanted to go back to Vedic times. This is important thing. Okay, now they believe that every person has a right to direct access to God, so every person has a right, and then ideas of these Arya samaj, and they used to have these Sunday meetings, and their idea, this and their Sunday meeting, a lot of their thing, it resembled what we have already studied, the Brahmo samaj and the Prarthana samaj. It was quite similar to those. Okay, and who were the main followers of Brahmo Samaj? One of the important followers was Lala Hansraj ji, and after his name you will find many schools in India. Right, Lala Hansraj, he started a network of schools and colleges in the country, right, on the western lines, and these schools, and they also call it Dayanand Anglo-Vedic schools, right. And then there was that was like very famous important person related with the movement. Second person was Swami Shraddhanand ji, right, Shraddha Nanda ji, right. Now that was important, right. This person started Gurukul near Haridwar. Okay, and it still exists, right, over there. I've seen the place. Anyway, and what were the various achievements of Arya Samajis over here? The main achievements of the Arya Samajis, basically, as I just said, one was, you can obviously see, is about the education over here, right. So number one, their achievements are about education. Okay, now what is number two is they really worked for the improve the condition of the woman. Okay, please do not compare any of the actions of those people to today's circumstances as is being done by many people these days. Those people were behaving, acting in particular circumstances. We must appreciate that. Okay, now this person, he fought untouchability, right, untouchability. Okay, so this is important thing, and they were against the caste system. So a lot of people opposing caste system, but even then the scourge, की जो भद्दा caste system अभी चल रहा है हमारी society में, and they promoted a social solidarity. This is what they were promoting, right. And they were focusing on self-respect and on self-reliance. This is what their focuses were, right. And the criticism is of this reform movement is that criticism of the Arya Samaj movement, that was it. It focused too much on religion, right. It prevented conversion of Hindus to other religions. Suppose some Hindu wants to go to other religion, they would stop it vehemently. And see, it's a matter of right. It's my personal choice whether I want to follow Sikhism or Hinduism or Islam or whatever, right, or I want to follow all religions, or I say that all religions are crap. It's my choice. Okay, when it comes to religion, it's a matter of personal choice, and it impacts nobody else whatever I do with my religion. So that is why it is important that I should be allowed, right. And then slowly, they were talking about rationalism, but then slowly the focus on human reasoning, this kept on falling. This happens with everyone, right. You will find this happening to every person. That is how the degradation starts. Okay, now the one important fact is that the Lala Hansraj, he basically wanted to focus on English education, so he opened his institutes in a different manner as DAVs, whereas Swami Shraddhanand, his focus was on Sanskrit, right, on Sanskrit language, and he opened Gurukul at Haridwar for the same purpose. Okay, and in fact, Lala Hansraj and Lajpat Rai, they demanded to English. They opened Oriental College at Lahore. This college was opened by the Oriental College at Lahore. Okay, one great loss to India after partition was loss of Lahore. We have so much of things associated with Lahore. Anyway, right, after this comes the Theosophical movement. Okay, this is important movement, and I am expecting a question on this Theosophical society, on this movement, in this year or maybe next few years. Okay, this year should be there. Now this movement was started in United States of America, and it was started by a person, name was H.P. Blavatsky, right, and plus Colonel H.S. Olcott. Okay, these two people started this movement, and they basically, when they started this movement, they were inspired by Indian thought and Indian culture. That was they had this impact, okay, Indian thought and culture. Now this movement grew in India under a lady called Annie Besant, right. I have read her autobiography, एंड इट इज़ सो बोरिंग, सो अनोइंग ऑटोबायोग्राफी, मतलब इससे बेकार मैंने आज तक नहीं कोई पढ़ी है. एनीवे, maybe I could not appreciate it, right? Whatever, some people must be liking it, right? I don't want to discourage you from reading. Go through it once whenever you get time in life. Annie Besant, right? Now Annie Besant came to India in 1893, and then under her this movement really did a lot of things, right? What are the aims of this movement? Aim kya the is movement ke? The aims were a revival and strengthening of ancient religions. Okay, so revival of ancient religion was their aim. Okay, and what are these ancient religion according to them? They were Hinduism, Zoroastrianism and Buddhism. These three religions, she wanted to promote, and they believed in the transmigration of soul. This thing actually, her personal life, Annie Besant, was very very disturbed life, and she got peace in Hinduism especially, right? So basically she shifted a lot to Hinduism. They believed in the transmigration of the soul. Okay, and then after that, they wanted to preach about the universal brotherhood of man, right? Universal brotherhood. Okay, now what were their contributions, right? It was not so successful a movement, not so successful as religious revivalist movement. See, the reason is that but they had a peculiar contribution to developments in the modern India, right? That it was a movement led by, important thing is that it was a movement led by Westerners in India, right? And basically Westerners in India to glorify Indian religions. Okay, so this is important part in it कि जो वेस्टर्न लोग थे उन्होंने इस रिलीजियस रिफॉर्म मूवमेंट को हमारे यहाँ पे ग्लोरीफाई आकर किया था, राइट? एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस देयर कंट्रीब्यूशन, राइट, आई जस्ट राइट ऑन द नेक्स्ट पेज ओवर हियर, देयर कंट्रीब्यूशन इज दैट इट वाज द वेस्टर्न पीपल glorify Indian religion, which led to regain of self-confidence of Indians, that yeah, we are doing something good, we have something great, and even though it gave you a sense of false pride in their past greatness, some of it was falsely created, right? And then another important contribution of the Theosophical movement was that it has helped the establishment of central Hindu school of Banaras. Okay, school of Benares. Okay, now something more about this Theosophical Society movement is that this movement basically they talked about, they said that the special relationship can be established between a personal soul and God, right? So they thought about this soul and God, this relationship can be established, and this thing can be done through prayers and contemplation and revelations. Okay, so contemplation, सोच विचार, prayer, प्रार्थना करके हम soul और God को जोड़ सकते हैं. Okay, and this movement it came allied with Hindu Renaissance movement. Okay, जो हिंदुज़म के अंदर चेंजेस आए, राइट? नाउ इन इंडिया, राइट, दिस बिकेम मूवमेंट बेसिकली आफ्टर द डेथ ऑफ ऑलकर, जब एनी बेसेंट का रोल इंडिया में बढ़ गया, देन शी बिकेम वेरी एक्टिव, एंड दिस मूवमेंट ऑल्सो गॉट वेरी एक्टिव इन इंडिया, राइट? And after the death of Madam Blavatsky, she came to India, right? So after death of Blavatsky, right, so she came to India, and then she was very active here. Okay, and she knew Indian religion, the Hindu religion, the Vedantic religion very well, and in fact she also wrote a translation of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, which is one of the authorities actually, right? And slowly, in her guidance, Theosophy movement became a movement of Hindu revival. Okay, and about this Central Hindu School of Benares, this was laid by her in 1898, right? And but please mind it, right? Now, though its name was Central Hindu School of Benares, but it was just the name of it. Okay, I recently, Markandeya Kaju said that how can there be something called Aligarh Muslim University or Hindu School of Benares, or all that. See, just because the name was so, it doesn't make them communal. Okay, because all people from all religions were studying here, right? And they were talking about Hindu religion and the Western scientific subject also. Okay. And the Mrs. Besant, right, and she did so much for female education also over there. So we talk about the female education over here, right? And then Western scientific rational thought, this is what they were teaching. Now if it was a communal school, then Western scientific education cannot be given. Okay. And then she also forms the Home Rule League, about which we will talk at the right place, and that was on the lines of the Irish movement only. Okay. But to conclude, this Theosophical movement, right, it was just an average movement, right, for the average Indian, right. For average Indian, the philosophy, it was a vague philosophy, right? The Theosophical philosophy was very vague. It's true, actually. In her book, she talks about it, and even I had a very tough time understanding what she is saying. Okay. And and as such, its impact was just limited to the Western ideas, Westernized ideas. So that's her contribution. Okay. The two important things are Home Rule League and her this contribution on Western ideas. Okay. So that was about the Theosophical Society. Now, after Theosophical Society, I would talk to you about the Muslim reform movements now. Those were Hindus, right? Now we will talk about the Muslim reform movements. Muslim movements, right? Reform movements. Now, we will begin with then this under first of all under this that in Muslims, the religious reform movements came quite late, actually, than other religions. Okay. And in fact, it was mainly after the revolt of 1857 only that the modern ideas of religious reform movement started in Muslim. Okay. And this all this started with the help of Sir Syed Ahmed Khan. We'll talk about him now, right? We'll talk. तो जो ये सर सैयद अहमद खान हैं, he is there from 1817 to almost whole of the 19th century. He is there. Now this person, he was really impressed by this Western modern scientific thought, and he thought that even Islam needs to reconcile itself, right, with this modern thought. Okay. And he actually all his life he kept on trying to make a balance between two, right? And he did so first of all he said that but then rather than saying saying that Islam should reconcile, he said that this science should reconcile itself with Islam, right? It was the other way, not the first way. कि इसकी साइंस की जो तरक्की है वो इस्लाम के मुताबिक होनी चाहिए. उन्होंने ये कहा कि जो सबसे महान है, एवरीथिंग द ग्रेटेस्ट वर्क इज ओनली बाय कुरान. ओके. Whatever Quran says is the right thing. And he said that if there is something in science which is not in alignment with Quran, and then that thing, that human reason or that science or whatever it be, it was a misinterpretation, right? It had to be reinterpreted. It was misinterpretation. It was going against the Quran, right? That was his logic. And he urged people that they should have a critical approach. Okay. But then also keep in mind that Quran is the greatest. That is what his message was. Okay. And he thought that modern Western scientific knowledge and culture, right? So basically he was focused on the modern education, right? And it was essential to improve the religious and social life of Muslims. He was obsessed with the system of education, actually. And in 1875 he founded the Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College, which later on changes into Aligarh Muslim University also. Okay. And but then please again, right, this was Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College, but this was open to all. Even Hindus could study here, the Sikhs could study here, all religions were allowed to study here. Okay. Hindus, Parsis, Christians, all the people contributed for the opening of Aligarh Muslim University. अब जिसको आजकल वो एक तो ठप्पा लग गया है आजकल के टाइम में इस्लाम की मुस्लिम यूनिवर्सिटी है. इट वाज Hindus, even Parsis and Christians, everyone contributed to formation of this university. The initial college was to the formation of MAU college, which later transformed into Muslim Aligarh University. And even Sanskrit was taught at this school, right? In this college, and they believed in religious toleration, right? Accept others, toleration. We really need this thing, right? Whatever the other religious beliefs are, even if it is a theistic belief, we need to have tolerance for that. He worked a lot for Hindu Muslim unity, right? This, they really worked for it. A lot of people says that how can you have a Muslim university and call it communal, but call it secular. It was a secular university, it just had a name of it was called Muslim Anglo Oriental College. Okay, it was purely secular, and he was a believer in religious toleration. Okay, and as I said, he advocated removal of parda system. Even he was a very, very advanced thinker. What is the purpose of parda system today? Right, he supported education among women. He opposed polygamy. This is a huge thing which really needs to be done today. We need to abolish polygamy in India now, right? I'm not opposing any religion for that matter. This is my view, right? Polygamy has its own problems. It's not needed anymore. Or easy divorce, the oral talaq. भी आपने 3 बारी तलाक कह दिया तो तलाक हो गया. I mean, what kind of utter nonsense it is? 3 बारी तलाक कहने से अगर तलाक होने लगे तो हो लिया काम. कंडीशन ऑफ वुमेन का क्या होगा इंडिया में, right? If you are a follower of Islam, and if my views, if you are offended by it, please, just my humble request, my apologies to you if you are feeling bad for it, but that is the truth. Be rational, don't be emotional about it. थोड़ा सा rational होकर आप सोचें, right? And the same thing with Hinduism. Whatever we are talking about reforms, तो जो बुरी चीज़ें हैं हर religion की उस टाइम के मुताबिक वो तो सामने आएंगी. और वेदर इट वॉज एनी रिलीजन, सिखिज्म उठा लीजिए, उसके बारे में हम बात करेंगे, और इस्लाम हिंदुज्म के बारे में, बाकी कास्टिज्म भर रखा था. इट हैड टू बी एलिमिनेटेड, राइट? एंड देन Hinduism के अंदर these actions actually they aroused the wrath and the anger of the traditionalists, and a fatwa was also issued against him. Okay, such things were happening in this Aligarh movement. This is also known as the Aligarh movement. Okay, Aligarh movement. Right now, his criticism is that before I get into criticism, just would like to tell you a few more things about Sir Syed Ahmed Khan. He was into the judicial services of the company, judicial services, before he became a reformer, full-time reformer, and he stood loyal to the government. Okay, and even in the revolt of 1857, he did not support the rebels. Okay, and he also condemned the system of Piri and Muridi, right? Many of you would know the system already. I'll explain it to you. Peers, and this Piri means Peer, Fakir, all these saints, who claim to be followers of Sufi school, right? And they passed mystic words to their disciples. Disciple मुरीद को कहते हैं. मुरीद हो गए भैया आपके, तो हम भक्त बन गए, disciple हो गए. The murid is a disciple. Okay, so he said that it's wrong, right? He also condemned the system of slavery. Okay, and then his progressive ideas, all his ideas he published in a magazine which was called Tehdeeb, या तहजीब मान लीजिए इसे, तहदीब उल अकल, तहदीब उल अकलक. What does it mean? It just means improvement of manners and morals. Okay, improvement of manners and morals. That was his focus. Okay, now so let me just tell you about the criticism, about Sir Syed Ahmed Khan or Aligarh this Aligarh movement in general, and that was that by the end of his movement, toward the fag end of his career, he started talking of Hindu domination. Okay, Hindus will dominate. ये चिल्ला के इन्होंने अपना हमारा धर्म खतरे में, our religion is in danger, Hindus will dominate us, Hindus will finish Islam. Such utter nonsense was spread by him, right? And वो हिंदूज खुद तो सुधर जाएं भाई, वो अपने नहीं संभाल पा रहे, वो तुम्हें क्या खत्म करेंगे. So same cry goes on forever. Hindus have destroyed our religion, and Hindus are what are they crying? Our religion is being. Hindus are also crying the same thing. Our religion is being destroyed. Our religion is being done this, done that. Nothing is happening, bhai. All these religion, whether Islam, Sikh, Hindu, Christian, all this religion, they are the great religions. They cannot be destroyed by humans. Humans do not have power to destroy them. Their teachings are very, very strong teachings. And trust me, this is how the things work. These are all political propaganda. As an IAS aspirant, if you think rationally, you will realize that this is we must get up from above all this communalism. Okay, all the religions have certain flaws. Okay, we must accept those humbly. Now, he was, but I must tell you something, even though he was talking about Hindu domination, right, he was doing he started talking of Hindu domination basically, so that he did this so that people do not join the rising national movement which was really moving ahead at that time, जो हमारी भारत की इंडिपेंडेंस की मूवमेंट थी उसकी तरफ लोग ना जुड़े, right? But you know, at the same time he was not really a communalist in the true sense of the word. Okay, he just wanted that backwardness of Muslims and upper classes must go, right? And he said that he actually, why he was discouraging national movement, because he really felt that immediate political progress was not possible. Okay, because British government cannot be lodged. In fact, he said that I have my own way of things, and according to those only things should be done, right? So that was his criticism actually. He was obsessed with educational efforts. His obsession, I'll talk about that. His obsession with education. Kaise, I'll prove it to you. He was obsessed with it. Any hostility by officials, he felt that if we go against the Britishers through national movement, we will be hostile to Britishers, and then what they will do, it will be dangerous for his educational efforts. एक तो डर गया इस बात से, and for this purpose he went on to going spreading hatred and calling it a Hindu domination and discouraging national movement, just because that his educational effort are not ruined. He was so much obsessed with those ideas that though he thought that only when Indians are as modern in their thinking, as our English, then we can topple Britishers. उनको तभी उखाड़ के फेंक सकते हैं Britishers को, जब हम वैसा सोच पाए जैसे अंग्रेज सोचते हैं. And he thus advised everyone, all Indians, that they must remain away from the politics and just focus on learning, on education. Okay, his sole focus was education. And then what happened, because there was so much of opposition to him by the religious ulemas, right, and all those religious people. So what all the religious orthodoxy, he stopped opposing these things in favor. He stopped supporting any kind of religious reform movement, right? And thus in this way indirectly maybe indirectly only, but communalism in country was encouraged, and Islamic movement, the Muslim was in India was deprived of many advancements which it could have got, right? Now there were few main followers of Islam, of this Aligarh movement, and he was actually helped by all these people. They are known as the Aligarh School put together, and I'll just name these people. You have to remember these names, okay? There's no need to know the detail of these names, just the names would be enough if you can mention them in the paper somehow. Okay, the first name is the Chirag Ali, right? That was important. And then came Altaf Hussain Ali. Okay, then came Nazir Ahmed. Then came Maulana Shibli Nomani. Okay, so these four people, right, you must remember their names. Important people associated with the Aligarh movement. These are Chirag Ali, Altaf Hussain Ali. Altaf Ali तो एक सिंगर भी है ना आजकल. चिराग अल्लादीन का चिराग, कुछ ऐसा सोच सकें अगर आप. फिर देन नज़ीर अहमद. नज़ीर, दिल्ली में नज़ीर एक रेस्टोरेंट है बहुत अच्छा. ओके, तो फिर वहाँ पर नज़ीर. एंड देन मौलाना शिबली नोमानी, राइट? अगर MCQ ही आएगा, you can always attempt this. Okay, then there was another important Muslim movement about which I wanted to talk to you, and this movement is Ahmadiyya movement. Okay, Ahmadiyya movement. Okay, now this movement, this is also known as the Khidyani movement, because it started from a place called Khidyan, which is present in West Punjab, that is Pakistan, and it started in 1889. And this movement is basically an Islamic religious revivalist movement. Okay, it's a religious movement. It wanted to revive Islam to its previous glory, and Islam revivalist, right? And basically all the people, the followers of this theory, this movement actually, it originated with the life and teachings of Mirza Ghulam Ahmed, right? Okay, Mirza Ghulam Ahmed. Okay, and basically it organized movement against the activities of a lot of activities of Arya samaj and Christian missionaries in Punjab. Okay, Now these Ahmadis, this Ahmadiyya, this is very important for paper because there was certain news in the Hindu newspaper in 2015. So there it just might come in your paper anytime. That Ahmadi believes, this Ahmadiyya movement, they're actually aligned with the Sunni tradition, right? Than the Shias. They're more aligned with the Sunnis. Okay. For example, Pakistan is a Sunni country, right? Can you name few Shia countries? For example, Iran is a Shia country. Okay. So such things, right? Now Iran and then Iraq, all these are Shia countries. They're just 4 or 5 Shia countries, main people there. Right? Anyway, right? He focused on the 5 pillars of Islam. The Khidiani Ahmadiyya movement, their focus was on the 5 pillars of Islam. What are the 5 pillars of Islam? Okay, if you don't know, I'll just tell you what are the 5 pillars of Islam. The first is the Shahda. I'm sorry for the pronunciation. Shahda. इसका मतलब होता है there is no God except God. Okay, and Muhammad is the God's messenger. Okay. Number 2 is Salat. Salat means that if your 5 prayers in a day. Okay. Number 3 is Zakat. या ज़कात जैसे मर्जी बोल लीजिए. इसका मीनिंग होता है टू गिव 2.5% ऑफ योर अर्निंग टू पुअर एंड नीडी. आई डोंट नो हाउ मेनी मुस्लिम्स आर डूइंग इट. एंड देन कम्स द Psalm. Yeah, Psalm was there. Psalm. Okay, I'll just tell you what. Yeah, Psalm. These days, this fasting is self-control during the month of Ramadan or Ramzan. Okay, I would be thankful if anyone in the comment section can explain me, some Muslim, maybe if you know that, what is the difference between Ramadan and Ramzan and why this difference was created. This has some political importance actually, that is why I'm asking you this anyway. And the 5th important thing that all Muslims got to do, the 5 pillars of Islam, the 5th pillar is Hajj. That means you have to go to Makkah, Medina ji once, and at least once in your lifetime, right, if one is able. Okay. And these days, even when I'm releasing this lecture, the month of Ramzan is going on. Okay, there's a beautiful appeal done by Markandeya Karju. He was ex-judge of India. He is asking all the Hindus and all non-Muslims, all Sikhs, Christians, everyone, to keep one roza to show solidarity to Islam. Wonderful suggestion, and I'll tell you that 27th roza is the best roza if you want to keep one. To 27th roza, that will probably be 15th July this month. I'm not sure about the date, you can confirm it. 15 July 2015. Okay, right, this you can always do. And he, and Muslims and then all other religions, he requests them to at least keep one Navratri fast. Okay, and I hope all Muslims do that. I will be keeping a fast or roza for Muslims just to show my solidarity. Same for all religions, right? When it comes any Gurupura, I'll go to Gurdwara to show unity in the country. We must do this. Okay, this is a wonderful thing we can do actually. Anyway, right, coming back to Ahmadiyya movement now, basically this person, right, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad ji jo the, he believes in the 5 pillars of Islam. Okay, and he also talks about the 6 articles of Islamic faith. Anyway, we won't go into much detail. And these Ahmadis, right, they accepted Quran as their holy text. Okay, Quran ही इनका एक holy text है. And ये इनके सेंट्रल बिलीव्स हैं जो अहमदी मुस्लिम थॉट से जुड़े हुए हैं. ओके, एक डिस्टिंग्विशिंग फीचर ऑफ द अहमदिया मूवमेंट इज दैट देयर बिलीव इन मिर्जा गुलाम अहमद. ओके, because as he promised two things, right? One is Masiha, that is God, right? Masiha, I mean, how do I explain it? Okay, Masiha. And second thing is Mahdi, right? And this was as also prophesied by Prophet Muhammad later on. Okay, Mahdi basically means it is Mahdi is it is the, let's say, redeemer of Islam, right? The person who's guided one. Okay, he is the redeemer of Islam, who will probably before the day of resurrection, जब कहर का, जब वो दुनिया खत्म होने का आखिरी दिन आएगा, तो उससे पहले कुछ साल महदी दुनिया पर रूल करेंगे, राइट? दैट इज द थ्योरी. सो द आइडिया इज, जो यहाँ पर चल रहा है वो ये है कि जो क्या नाम है इनका, मिर्जा गुलाम अहमद हैं, यहाँ पर इनको वो इनसे मिलवा देंगे, महदी से, मसीहा से. दैट इज हिज आइडिया एंड दैट इज देयर फिलॉसफी. ओके, आई डोंट वांट टू गो इनटू मच मोर डिटेल ऑफ दिस एनीवे, राइट? सो विल मूव अहेड. And he advocated a peaceful propagation of Islam. This is important, right? He says, karo Islam ko propagate, philao Islam ko, but peacefully. What if you do that violently, through violence, this is the greatest only, then that is wrong, okay? And he emphatically argued about he said, okay, jihad is fine, but he said jihad in military form is wrong, okay? Jihad has to be, a peaceful only, right? And he engaged with Christians and Muslims and Hindus. He would debate with them, right? ऐसा था ये इनका movement का system जो चल रहा था, okay? Then next movement related to Islam is the Deoband movement. Okay, let's talk about it. Deoband movement, I'll quickly talk about it. It is also known as the Darul Ulam movement, Darul Ulam. And this movement, it was founded let's talk about it in detail. This movement was founded under the leadership of two people, right? One was Muhammad Qasim Vanotavi, okay? This was one important person associated with it. And the number two person over here was Rashid Ahmed. These names are important, they can be asked in paper, okay? And Rashid Ahmed was there. His full name was Rashid Ahmed Gangohi. Just in case you want to remember some formula, you can make on your own, okay? And this movement was quite opposite to what Aligarh movement was, because see, they shut out the English. They were against English education. They were against the Western education, okay? And they were saying that we will teach about the Islamic faith and everything would be accordingly, okay? Everything will be based on the Islamic faith. That was their idea, okay? And in fact, the Deoband movement also issued a fatwa against Sir Syed Ahmed Khan in 1888 for his progressive ideas, right? And also against the Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental Association, for this fatwa was issued, okay? But in any case, right, later on, this movement it started in 1866, and this movement their ideas included a liberal interpretation of Quran. Everything was to be based on Quran, but liberally Quran was to be implemented. That was their idea, okay? Number one. And number two is that Hindu-Muslim unity to certain extent was also extended at this time, right? And then even Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, he was also inspired by this movement, Deoband movement we are talking about, okay? Now the next person I would like to talk to you is Muhammad Iqbal, okay? Let me just write his name, Muhammad Iqbal. मोहम्मद इकबाल, जब भी इनका नाम लेते हैं मेरे मन में जो पहली चीज़ आती है, I'll tell you about that, and that is तराना ए हिंद. तराना ए हिंद इन्होंने लिखा था, तराना ए हिंद, ओके? तराना ए हिंद आपको पता है, आपने सुन रखा है सभी ने, ये सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा, जो ये इन्होंने ही लिखा था, मोहम्मद इकबाल ने, ओके? एंड ही इन्फ्लुएंस्ड द यंगर जनरेशन. ही इज आल्सो कॉल्ड द नेशनल पोएट ऑफ पाकिस्तान. दे सेलिब्रेट नेशनल हॉलीडे दैट डे कॉल्ड इकबाल holiday, okay? In Pakistan it is so, right? And his main focus was on action, right? And he was actually born to his grandfathers were Kashmiri Pandits, okay? Kashmiri Pandit, but later on somebody in between changed to Islam, and that is how he is associated with Islamic movement. Anyway, now he says that man should not submit. He said this: man shouldn't submit to nature of powers, right? But should, in fact, man should not be a slave of nature. In fact, control the world. Man should control world through with action. That was his focus, right? And initially his focus was on patriotism, right? And later on something happened. Somehow he started supporting Muslim separatism, right? He talks about this in one of his speeches. He talks about this having a separate northwestern state, right? And anyway, right, so that is Pakistan. Oh, by the way, that reminds me, do you know who gave the word Pakistan? Okay, the first reference to word Pakistan was made as Pakistan, right? They don't say Pakistan. We say that they say Pakistan. That's the correct pronunciation. Anyway, this word Pakistan, it came through the Pakistan Declaration, right? Pakistan Declaration. right? And this was by Chaudhry Rahmat Ali, the first mention of the word, right? Chaudhry Rahmat Ali, and this was in 1933, okay? And in this they don't use the word I, okay? And this was basically presented in the round table conferences in 1933 in the RTC. There it was presented, the Pakistan Declaration. Anyway, right? So that was about almost all the movements of Muslim. Let me just check if I'm missing. Yeah, there's just one movement. Okay, let me just give you a quick reference of it, and this is the Wahhabi movement, okay? Wahhabi movement. What this movement is about, we won't go into details of this. That I'll just quickly tell you that this was earlier organized. First, one of the earliest responses. This is one of the first movements. Actually, I should have talked in the beginning about this movement. And this is also known as the Waliullah movement. Waliullah movement. Okay, Waliullah movement. And it was basically revived. Shah Waliullah, right, was the first Indian Muslim leader who expressed that Indian Muslim has degenerated, right? So that is why it's called Waliullah movement. Shah Waliullah. He said that Indian Muslim has degenerated. Indian Muslim has degenerated. It is for them that this movement was started by him, okay? And he was very angry with all those people, and he desired that, you know, the Indian Muslim is scared of, okay? And he said that whenever, you know, there is in interpretation of Quran and the Hadith, okay, there is a conflict, then, you know, we should adhere to rationality, okay, reasoning, okay. We should adhere to that for the proper interpretation, right? And slowly this movement, when later leaders came, it got a political flavor to it, okay? It became politicized, this movement, and they aimed at creating a homeland for Muslims. So this was a kind of a communal movement in itself, and, you know, this is how they happened. And in fact, their campaign, this movement was initially it was against the Sikhs in Punjab, but later on the Sikh empire was overtaken by the Britishers, and this Wahhabi movement was suppressed by the Britishers, okay? So that is the history of the Islamic movements, right? Now after this, I would like to talk to you about the Parsis, right? Parsis, let me just talk about them. Parsi movements in India. So one of the main movements over here, right, main group over here, it was the Rehnumai Mazd-e-Asan Sabha, or if we put it into English translation, it is the Religious Reform Association, right, or Religious Reform Association, right? And their main motive was the regeneration. They wanted to improve the social conditions of the Parsis, number one, and second, they wanted to take this religion, the Parsi, right, the Zoroastrian religion, to the pristine glory of the past, okay? Zoroastrian rise, that was their focus. And who were the main leaders of this Parsi movement? They were, number one was Naroji Furdonji, that he was one of the main leaders of this movement. Number two leader was, of course, Dada Bhai Naroji, we know him, and his contribution to Indian freedom movement has been immense, Naroji. And then third, there was a person called K.R. Kame. He was also main contributor, okay? And then, you know, there was S.S. Bengali. He was also associated with the Rehnumai Mazd-e-Asan Sabha, okay? And their newspaper, the name of their newspaper, it was Rast Guftar, and which meant a truth teller, okay? Truth teller. Important thing, you must note these four names, and you must write these names in your paper if you want to score in mains exam. See, history में mains में बच्चों के number इसीलिए नहीं आते, they do not mention enough factual information, okay? So we must talk about this. And they opposed things like Parda system, okay? And then, you know, they wanted to raise the age of marriage, okay? They supported raising the age of the marriage. And then, you know, they've supported education of women. And in fact, this Parsi movement was one of the most advanced movements of the Western, which are of all the religious reform movement that happened at that time, okay? So that was about the Parsi movement. Now the last movement I wanted to talk to you, it's about is the Sikhs, the reforms in the Sikhs, right? We'll talk about those now. Okay. So the reforms in Sikhs actually they started in the 19th century, right? Basically, what happened that in 1873, something called as Singh Sabha, right? Singh is the surname that Sikhs use with them, right? And Singh Sabha was formed, okay? And just like Renumai Mazdeasan Sabha, right? We have studied so many Sabhas, so this was one of those, but this is in Sikhism. So we have Singh Sabha, and this was formed at Amritsar, okay? Now its objective was two things. Number one was to Sikhs should have benefits of Western enlightenment, okay, benefits of Western thought. They wanted to use this Western thought, that Sikhs should also have benefits of this, okay? And they also, and that is like number one. Number two was they were against, they countering these proselytizing activities of Christians and Hindu revivalists, okay? जो ये लोग movements कर रहे थे इस time पे, उसकी बात कर रहे हैं, okay? And the जो ये सभा थी, right, they opened so counter basically the proselytizing activities. Let me just write the word, if you are not, I might be pronouncing it wrong. Proselytizing, okay. और ये कर कौन रहा था ये ऐसी चीज़ें, दिस वर बीइंग डन बाय क्रिश्चियन मिशनरीज, और जो कुछ हिंदू इस टाइम पे रिवाइवलिस्ट चल रहे थे उनके अगेंस्ट भी ये मूवमेंट थी टू सर्टेन एक्सटेंट, ओके. एंड देन आफ्टर दिस what did they do? They opened lot of Khalsa schools and Khalsa schools and colleges, okay, and they also throughout the Punjab it was done, right? And Akali movement that came, it was an offshoot of Singh Sabha, Akali movement that came out here. And this Akali movement, what was the aim of this? The aim of the Akali movement, it was to free the Gurudwaras. Gurudwaras are the Sikh place of worship, okay, to free Gurudwaras. Gurudwar, okay, Dwar, this is made of two words. Dwar is a normal Hindi word, right? So Guru ka Dwar, Guru ka ghar, okay, the door of the Guru, that is Gurudwar, okay. That, so they wanted to free Gurudwara of the Mahants, okay. This is what their aim was over here. And these Mahants were misusing the money in the Gurdwaras, and because lot of land, lot of money was being given by the devout Sikhs, it was being misused, okay. And the movement these Akalis did, right, the Akali movement at this time, it was it was a non-violent movement. First of all, it was a non-violent and it was a non-cooperation movement, okay. And it was a peaceful movement, right? And they did not, there was little violence, right? Sometimes there was violence, generally it was peaceful, okay. And in fact, because of this movement only, there came the Gurdwara Management Act, or the Gurdwara Act in 1922, after which later on amended in 1925, and after this the control of the Gurdwaras went to SGPC, Shiromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committees, okay. And among who were these Mahants? Basically, these Mahants were the Mahants actually in for Sikhs, right? For various religions, Mahants are religious heads. For Sikhs, these were hereditary managers, okay, hereditary managers of the Gurdwaras. And that was obviously till the formation of SGPC that they played any role, okay. So that was a main thing about Sikhism. Now something more about Akali movement is that this Akali movement, it was started in 1920, right? And it was by the Singh Sabha's political wing actually, right? And this movement, the political wing, okay, the political wing of Singh Sabha, right? Loosely we can say this, right? And then this later on was known as Akali Dal, right? We still have the Akali Dal party ruling in Punjab, right? So the Jathas, right? There were Jathas is a group of people, right? Main leader of this movement, his name was Kartar Singh Chabar, okay. And this person played a very important role in this Akali movement, right? And the first shrine, first Gurdwara which these people got freed, it is known as it's a beautiful place actually, Babe di Bear, okay, Babe di Bear Gurdwara. It's in Sialkot, okay. and it was basically under the mahant over there was Harnam Singh at that time. So various mahants were there at different places. Here it was Harnam Singh, right? After this they go to Golden Temple, right? So, and even Hindus supported Hindus were supporting Sikhs. Hindus supported Sikhs in this movement, and in fact Shankaracharya asked Hindus in India to support Sikhs in this movement. Okay, Shankaracharya also asked him, right? And so there was, because it was overall a peaceful movement, but then there was a splinter group of this movement which wanted violence, and that was Babbar Akali movement. Okay, before I end this lecture, I just have one request, and to all of you, I have said few things, right? Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, okay, and Parsis, okay, right? I have not said anything against them. Please understand them, not against them, right? I'm just talking about the reform movements, number one, and number two is that whatever I have spoken in my lectures, specifically in this lecture, it is with due respect to all religion. Okay, due respect to all religion. I myself go to gurdwaras and temples more often, right? I have been to mosques a few times only, but then I have been to gurdwaras n number of times, right? So I've seen almost all the major gurdwaras, all the major temples of India, at least. Now it's my just humble request, don't get offended by any of the things that I have mentioned. Okay, these are reform movement, this is the part of the history. Okay, this is just to be aware. We need to be scientific and rational. That is my only thing that I want to say, कि भाई कुछ भी अगर बात है, don't take it too hard. Okay, this is just part of history, we are studying, right? I just wanted to convey, I want to make it amply clear, because I don't want to get into any kind of mudslinging or any kind of comments after this lecture. So that's it. And before I end the lecture now, I just have, like always, two requests to make. And the first request is, please share this lecture, right? Be rational in your thought process. Trust me, every religion had its share. चाहे कोई भी था, Hindu, Sikh or Muslim or Parsi, everyone had their own weaknesses. How can you justify caste system? Caste system से बुरा क्या हो सकता है भाई? Or parda system, it's so bad, or oral talaq, right? Or corruption in gurdwaras, I mean, how bad it can get. Okay, so all this idea, right? And so my just request is, please share this video with others if you like this. And second thing is, if you really like our channel and if you want more videos in future, you can subscribe to our channel, or by clicking here, videos will come directly into your email. So that is all, and thank you so much for watching this video.